with the so-called Muslim community with which they don't know how to deal.
No, this was not, and this was the point that we started to talk about from the very moment I said, and I was teaching citizenship and identity. It has nothing to do with Islam, and my course was not about Islam. And then the first 3 reports that I gave, the first one was on education, nothing to do with Islam, second on the job market, and the third one on media. Now, I was talking exactly the point, let us shift your angles, only speaking about a Muslim. Look at me as a citizen. That's good. Good point. Don't you think?
Yeah, but you're not a citizen.
I'm a citizen.
Not of the Netherlands.
No, someone who is specialized on citizenship and this diversity. Am I not?
Okay. I take your word.
But can you give from that Rotterdam experience examples of this daily politics? What was in those reports of you? What kind of advices? Give some examples of the hope for a new we. What you advised that in those 3 reports. Give a few policy measurements.
There were a lot. There were in the first one 15, and the second one more than 30 proposals. And the first one about education, for example, is really to be able, when we work with citizenship and identity, to work on the curriculum, what we are teaching. Because if you don't come with a teaching of a common history of memories, you will end up having a struggle of memories. And this could be very problematic. So how do we integrate in our curriculum, in what we teach, something which has to do with the new makeup of our society, which means the memory of the people who are coming, and mainly, of course, Turkey and Morocco with it, something which is positive. Or, for example, what the fathers and the mothers gave to this country from Surinamese and all people. So a better inclusive sense of history. When it comes also for teachers, to have more teachers coming from different backgrounds, and this is also representing, because officially it's quite important to have this, because a teacher could be a role model. Then the relationship between parents and schools, something that we have to work, and sometimes to use the second and third generations of people to be the link between the parents and the school. So there are practical, and then also something which was quite important for me is that Rotterdam, for example, is a vivid country, lots of projects, but it's completely scattered. There is no vision. This is working, and they are doing the same thing. That you have to, sometimes you have to say to the politicians, it could be good to coordinate what you are doing. And this was maybe the first good thing that I said, but this was not, okay, it was too much. It was too critical on that, but it was taken. And then on the job market, I had 35 meetings with entrepreneurs and with people trying to come with how do we deal with discriminations, and I was not talking about Islam, I was talking about, a philosophy, it's equality, politics of diversity, and towards diversity. These were the proposals, and this was not published till I left, unfortunately.
You want to comment on that?
No.
One final question in the back.
I've forgotten the second point. What was you asked me?
The new thing.
No. You asked me something else as well about the law.
The influencing of the long process before.
Right. Yes. Now I'll say one very short thing about that. I'm not saying the law, the rule of law, is the only thing. I'm saying I made that statement to say that perhaps I should rephrase it and say, because I was trying to answer those who say we lack common values. And I want to put, because we lack common values often, and there's nothing you can do about that, I would say let's put more stress on the rules of the game and less stress on these common values, and I think then we'll get ahead. But the law in many ways, of course, reflects values too. They're usually fairly conservative values because, as you see in the United States with all the controversy about the Supreme Court and how activist it should be and so on, it's very dangerous to be ahead of the majority of people in terms of values and cultural attitudes and so on when you make new laws. But yes, it's not abstract.
Finally, the stranger.
So this is why we have to deal with history. I was once talking to someone who told me, you are wrong if you are right too soon.
That's true.
Or too early. So about the people who can be against that, I would say that you can find this kind of mindsets in everywhere. I'm dealing from within with Muslims who really have dogmatic minds. They're, literalists. They don't want to deal with. I am a good Muslim the very moment I know that I'm not like them, and them are the Europeans and the fellow citizens. So we are dealing with this from within. But we also have within the Catholic Church or the Protestant, sometimes people, the mindset, they are not coming from one specific group. Of course, you can see trends, for example, the neocon in the States. And once again, there are many levels here, because you can have this mindset because people are also scared of the new influence of this new presence. The people who are talking, for example, about Arabia, are not talking only about the changes within Europe. They are also speaking about Europe could change its foreign policy because of these people who are now connected with the governments, and this could have an impact on the Middle East. And also the relationship with, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is very deep. So on this, there are many levels. But I would say for these people that, for example, when the Pope is saying that the roots of Europe are Greek and Christian, he's so scared of the Muslim presence, and this is not new. When he was the Cardinal Ratzinger, this was I knew him, I met him, we talked about this, and I knew where he was coming from. So by saying this, he is creating something, and then we had reaction from within the Catholic Church saying, no, it's wider than this. So you have discussion. So I wouldn't say it's coming only from one specific group. Within all the religions, within all the ideologies, within all the trends, you will find dogmatic minds. So I would say be careful with the people who are telling you, I'm a progressive, because a progressive mind could hide a more dogmatic mind on another field. So this is always a subtle discussion.
Now you have to run.
Sorry. Yes. Your taxi driver is there, I'm sure. So we have to stop. We could go on for a long time. I won't give a final conclusion. We have enough to think about. I thank you both very much for being here.